Hello dear listener, please subscribe to our channel. Enjoy watching. I always thought life was a bit like a game of chess. You plan your moves, anticipate the opponent's strategy, and if you're smart, you're always a few steps ahead. But sometimes, life doesn't play fair. No matter how much you plan, you get blindsided. I'm no stranger to surprises. I even enjoy them. But what happened that summer in New York was a surprise I never saw coming. It started with a simple text message and ended in a way that I don't think even Hitchcock could have dreamed up. I met Clara about 10 years ago. I was 28, working as a photographer, traveling between Los Angeles and New York. She was an art gallery owner, the kind of woman who had that rare mix of elegance and spontaneity. We met at an exhibit in Chelsea, one of those upscale joints where everyone sips champagne and pretends to understand modern art. I was there to shoot the event, and she was there to scout new talent. We got to talking, and before I knew it, I was head over heels. It wasn't long before we got married and settled into our loft in Brooklyn. Clara was the love of my life, and I was hers. Or at least, that's what I thought. Fast forward a few years, and things started to change. It's hard to pinpoint the exact moment when I first sensed something was off. Maybe it was the way she would disappear into the bathroom with her phone or the late-night meetings she suddenly had to attend. I'm not the jealous type, but even I have my limits. One night, she came home late again. This time, it wasn't a meeting. It was dinner with friends. She walked in with that same carefree smile, kissed me on the cheek, and went straight to the shower. I watched her walk away, my mind racing. Something wasn't right, but I couldn't put my finger on it. So, I did what any guy in my position would do, I snooped around. It didn't take long to find what I was looking for. Her phone buzzed on the counter, and she wasn't around. I'm not proud of it, but I looked. And there it was, a text from someone named Mark. The message was short and sweet, nothing too damning on its own, but it was the tone that got me. It was too familiar, too comfortable. Can't wait to see you again. Last night was amazing. That's when the reality of it hit me. My wife was cheating on me. Now, I'm not the kind of guy who flies off the handle. No, I'm a planner. A strategist. So, I decided to play it cool. I needed more information. I needed proof. Over the next few weeks, I watched her every move. I became a ghost in my own home, observing from the shadows. I tracked her calls, her texts, her social media. I even followed her a couple of times. It wasn't long before I found out who this Mark guy was. He was a financial consultant, the kind of guy who drives a flashy car and wears a suit that probably costs more than my monthly rent. I thought about confronting her right then and there. I thought about screaming and yelling, demanding answers. But I knew that wouldn't get me what I wanted. I needed a plan, something that would make her realize just how badly she had messed up. Something that would make them both pay for betraying me. I wanted revenge, but not just any revenge. I wanted something that would haunt them. The idea came to me while I was sitting in a bar downtown, nursing a whiskey. It was the perfect setup, a way to make them both suffer without laying a finger on them. All I needed was the right opportunity. And as luck would have it, that opportunity came sooner than I expected. Clara told me she was going to the Hamptons for the weekend. A girl's trip, she said. I nodded, smiled, and wished her a good time. I knew better, though. Mark was going to be there. I could tell by the way she avoided eye contact when she said it. So, I set my plan into motion. I made a few calls, did some digging, and put everything into place. The day she left, I followed her at a safe distance. She didn't see me, of course. I was careful. I watched as she met up with Mark, saw them kiss, and then drive off together in his convertible. My blood boiled, but I kept my cool. I had bigger plans for them. I tailed them all the way to the Hamptons, to a secluded beach house that looked like it had jumped straight out of a luxury magazine. I waited until they were inside before making my move. I wasn't alone, you see. I had brought some help. A couple of guys I knew from back in the day, people who were good at not asking questions. We waited until it was dark, until the house was quiet. Then we moved in. Now, before you get any ideas, no one got hurt. This wasn't about violence, this was about fear. We broke into the house as quietly as possible. Clara and Mark were asleep in the master bedroom, completely unaware. We rigged the place with cameras, microphones, and a few other surprises. The next morning, they woke up to a very different world. The power was out, the doors were locked, and the windows were sealed. We had turned their romantic getaway into a prison. I watched from a distance as they tried to make sense of what was happening. They banged on the windows, tried to force the doors open, but nothing worked. Then the messages started. At first, they thought it was a prank. A voice came over the speakers, calm and collected. "Good morning, lovebirds. I hope you're enjoying your stay." Clara went pale. She knew that voice. It was me. "What the hell is this?" Mark shouted, looking around the room. "This is a lesson," I replied through the speakers. "A lesson in loyalty. A lesson in consequences." I watched them panic, watched the fear in their eyes. It was intoxicating. I gave them instructions. "You'll find a tablet on the kitchen counter. Pick it up." Mark found the tablet, his hands shaking. The screen lit up with a video feed. It was live footage of the house, of them. Every room was covered. They were being watched from every angle. "You see," I continued, "I've been watching you two for a while now. I know everything. The dinners, the secret meetings, the lies. But now, it's my turn to have some fun." Clara screamed, demanding to know what was going on, pleading for me to stop. But I wasn't done yet. Not even close. I had them search the house. I had hidden little clues, little games they had to play. Each clue led to the next, each more twisted than the last. It wasn't about the clues themselves, it was about the psychological torture. They were trapped, at my mercy, with no idea what was coming next. At one point, I made them watch a video. It was footage of our wedding day, intercut with clips of their secret rendezvous. Clara broke down, sobbing, while Mark looked like he was about to throw up. The final game was the best one. I told them there was a way out, but they had to find it. The clue was hidden somewhere in the house. They tore the place apart, desperate to escape. Hours passed, and they found nothing. That's when I dropped the bombshell. "You're not going to find it," I said. "Because it doesn't exist. There is no way out." Clara collapsed to the floor, and Mark just stood there, stunned. They were defeated, broken. That's when I decided it was time to end the show. I called the police, anonymously, and told them there was a break-in at the beach house. By the time the cops showed up, I was long gone. They found Clara and Mark inside, surrounded by the wreckage of their own making. The story made the news. Couple held hostage in bizarre break-in, they called it. But no one ever figured out what really happened. No one knew it was me. I had my revenge, and it was perfect. Clara and Mark were exposed, their affair laid bare for everyone to see. Their reputations were ruined, their lives in shambles. I moved out of our loft the next day, filed for divorce, and left New York behind. I don't know where Clara is now, and frankly, I don't care. Some people might think what I did was extreme, maybe even cruel. But you know what? I don't regret a damn thing. Sometimes, the only way to teach someone a lesson is to make them live through their worst nightmare. And I think I did just that. If you leave a comment, tell us what you think about the story you heard. It's important to us and will help us find and tell stories that you find interesting. Thank you for watching us.